There are several different types of triangles that we'll study in the course, and in this video we're going to look at a sketch of each of those and sort of discuss the properties that go along with each name of those special kinds of triangles. One of the ways that we can classify triangles is by the lengths of their sides, and the first triangle that we're going to look at is known as an equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, all three sides have the same length. You might be looking at my triangle there going, well, they don't all look the same to me, and that one kind of has a dip in it. That's not the best drawing of a triangle I've ever seen. That's true. Remember, in this video we are just making sketches, and we have a technique that we can use when we want to make sure that the reader knows this is supposed to be an equilateral triangle. One of the things we can do, if it's not very easy to see, is we can use tick marks. And when I put a tick mark in there, and in there, and in there, those tick marks indicate that those three sides all have the same length. So that tells us it's an equilateral triangle, even if our sketch isn't perfect, kind of like the one you see there. The next type of triangle we're going to look at is an isosceles triangle. In an isosceles triangle, at least two sides have the same length. And if you look at our isosceles triangle drawn here, these would be the two sides that are the same length. There's a really important word I want you to notice there. It's this: at least two sides are the same length. So an isosceles triangle has at least two sides that are the same length. That means if three sides are the same length, it's an isosceles triangle. So that means that this triangle over here is equilateral, and it's also a special kind of isosceles triangle. An equilateral triangle would classify as an isosceles triangle because it has at least two sides that are the same length. Finally, the last triangle that we're going to look at is a scalene triangle. And in a scalene triangle, no sides are the same length. So in that scalene triangle, none of the sides have the same lengths as the other sides. In addition to classifying triangles by the length of their sides, we can also classify them by their angle measures. The first type of triangle we're going to do this with is a right triangle. And in a right triangle, one of the angles measures 90 degrees. You can see the angle that measures 90 degrees, but if we want to indicate that, we can put a little square down there in the angle that is the 90-degree angle. Next, we have an acute triangle. That's not very well done. Let me do that one over again. Let's get rid of that bottom line there and fix it up. There we go. In an acute triangle, all of the angles measure less than 90 degrees. And then finally, we have an obtuse triangle. And in an obtuse triangle, we have one angle that measures more than 90 degrees. And in this particular obtuse triangle, it would be the one right there that measures more than 90 degrees. Those are 6 triangles that have very important names and very important properties for us. Make sure that you're aware of each of those triangles and the relationships they have with each other.